Olwethu Nodada is a passionate and intentional advocate for empowering the girl child and creating spaces where individuals from all walks of life are seen, heard, and given the space to achieve to their highest potential. A former national marketing manager for Africa's largest optometric network, her transition into media and broadcasting has come as an aggravating and challenging adventure. She's had the honor of being crowned Miss South Africa Second Princess in 2020 and confined to serve as a mentor for the organization. After only 2 years in the industry, she is now a radio host on Cape Town's biggest radio station. She is the go-to host and MC for multinational corporates across the country and serves on the board of Amehlo Trust, which seeks to empower young black female optometrists through equity funding for their own businesses. As a broadcaster, community builder, businesswoman, and speaker, her biggest role is being mom to 2 girls who she wishes to inspire to excellence by being a solid example of hard work, commitment, and leading with kindness.
Oh, wow. Well, hello to our future Global Leaders Club members, our proud parents, and our proud ambassadors, and any special guests we may have in the room today. My name is Olwethu Nodada, as that intro said. I'm so excited that each and every one of you chose to dedicate the next 2 hours to sharpening your excellence in a way that is through motivation and inspiration. We have 2 incredible speakers lined up for you today. And as a team, we were so intentional about the selection of these speakers because we are very mindful of the fact that you are going towards your final exams, whether it is your final exams in high school as a matriculant or you are a grade 11, 10, 9, 8 learner who's looking to finish off this year really, really strong. This is a session for you. I want to encourage you to take down notes. I want to encourage you to interact with the speakers because it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. We're so grateful for them for making their time available this Saturday. All right, so it's an inspirational webinar looking at motivating you with Kabo, Mbuya, and one that's going to inspire you to excellence with one of your very own FGL alumni, Mbuya Sogoni. But before we get into that, I think it's always such a good reminder as to why we are here and why you are each FGLers. Let's take a look at Lihle's founding video before we chat to her.
My name is Lisa Zima. I'm 13 years old and I am the founder of the Future Global Leaders Club. It is my pleasure to welcome you to this prestigious and esteemed club that is exclusive to consistently hardworking, determined, intelligent, diligent, and ambitious learners like you. You have shown your potential to strive for the best no matter what it takes. If you want to be consistently consistent in your academic excellence, if continuous improvement is your motto, and if you want to be inspired into greatness, then the Future Global Leaders Club is your virtual home. I officially welcome you as we entrench and firmly embed ourselves as the global leaders of the future.
Well, there you are. You are entrenching yourselves as the future global leaders of the future. Alicia, good afternoon. How are you doing?
I'm getting you.
I am very well, thank you. We are still experiencing the last bits of winter in Cape Town, but I see you in Joburg. You guys have been in summer for a while, lucky you.
Yes, it's getting a bit warmer now.
We're so excited for you to be here on the session. I know this is the final stretch for you guys as matric students. Any words of thoughts to the FGLers before we get into the session?
I just want to first of all welcome everyone who is in the session today. In the session, we have two guest speakers. We have Kabo, who is a newly graduated computer engineer from the Botswana International University of Science and Technology, valedictorian of the class of 2025. So he is going to be inspiring us, to excellence, and sharing his journey in the world of tech and also showing some exciting careers of the future. So thank you so much, Kabo, for taking the time to join us all the way from Botswana. And congratulations on everything that you have achieved. We also have Emyoli, who is an FGL alumni, who's doing her first year in actuarial science at the Stellenbosch University. So she's going to be taking us on her journey in excellence, having been celebrated as a top HDI learner in Buffalo City with an incredible 7 distinctions in her matric year. So thank you so much, Hemioli, for also taking the time out of your, I'm sure, very, 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 very busy schedule as a first year, to come and share your journey with us. And I'd really also like to really congratulate you as well on or the distinctions that you got at the end of the matric year. And so, yeah, I really hope that the session is really going to be the push that we need in order to, to reach those goals that we set up for ourselves in 2025.
Oh, I love that. Lihle, thank you so much. I can guarantee you it's going to be a power session. I'm so glad you're as excited as we all are to get into it. Well, there you have it, the founder of the Future Global Leaders Club member, Lihle, who's also a published author. We are waiting for a second book. Hopefully, when she makes time in her varsity years, we'll be able to get another bestseller from her. But let's get into it. Our very first speaker, as Lihle has said, is Kabo Mbuya. We are super excited to have gotten a hold of him straight, fresh out of a graduation. He graduated last week. He's a valedictorian of the class of 2025 at the Botswana International University of Science and Technology. He graduated top of his class, with a Bachelor of Engineering in Computer and Telecommunications. His excellence in academics and all things actually was shown from a very early age, having really done super well in his high school career and later excelling in his A levels with 2 A's and 2 B's, a very close B with 279% and a stellar CGPA of 4.13 out of 5.10. He was awarded the prestigious Government of Botswana's full scholarship and admitted directly to the second year at the Botswana International University of Science and Technology. So he skipped his first year because of how well he did in his A levels. During his studies, he's engaged in many impactful projects, like I mentioned, water control systems, solar powered chargers, also gaining experience in telecommunications as an intern at Mascom Wireless. He's skilled in embedded systems, data analysis, and web development, and also with a passion for leveraging technology to solve some real world problems. He has shown his leadership through roles at the university, winning university competitions, excelling in sports, as well as a former national tennis champion. He is a superstar, and we got him before the whole world tries to grab his attention. Kabo, we are so proud to have you as a guest at FGL. How are you doing? Good afternoon. How's Botswana?
Good afternoon. Thank you for the great welcome. It's really an honor to be here. Thank you to Sisolweto and Lihle for introducing me with such grace and and honor. It's cold actually. Funny enough, it being a subject evening. It's finally rainy season. We're now entering independence, so it's time for celebration.
I love it. Well, we have you, and we are so glad to have you on this platform. I'm going to hand over to you to chat through the presentation with the FGLers. I know there's so much insights you can give for them. I don't want to steal any more of your time. So over to you.
All right, thank you very much. Let me share my screen. Do, do, do. Right. Let me start this. All right. I wanted to check. Can everyone see my screen, my presentation?
Yes, we can.
All right. All right. Without further ado, thank you again for the warm welcome. My name is Kabo Mbuya, as was stated. Well, engineer now, Kabo Mbuya. I remember myself being in your guys' shoes, being a viewer of the FGL seminar 3 years ago, listening to the then guest speaker and just getting motivation and inspiration to finish off my university journey strong, and with hopes of entering my career later on with excitement and that passion to take over the world one day. So to be invited and to be a guest speaker right now is truly a full circle moment for me, and truly is an honor. And for that, I would like to say thank you. Before we start, I'd like to make something very clear. I am not here to give you guys a 21-step plan on how to be, the best in mathematics, the best in, finance and all that. I'm here to give you a story of my journey, tell you the lessons that I learned, throughout my whole journey, a few things that I kept anchored to myself as a person, and with hopes that by the end of my talk, you will find a few hints, a few lessons yourself that you can implement into your day-to-day life to achieve the things that you want to achieve and to become the people you want to become. So, change that. Throughout this whole presentation, I'll be taking you through my journey or my story, my university days, a few of my role models and people that I look up to, the anchors, like I said, that kept me going in this life, as well as why I chose to do computer engineering and delve into the tech world, with hopes that some of you will also join me in this great field. Now, I'd like to begin this journey with taking you from my high school experience. I remember my first high school days, or my first high school day. I got into class. I sat down at my desk. I looked around just to get a feel of the environment. And then I looked down at my desk and I made a decision there and then that by the end of this high school journey, everyone will know who I am. And with that, I put action behind those words. After school, I'd go back home and study all the way until 10 p.m., wake up the next day at 3 a.m. to continue studying, not just to understand the content that was taught to me that day, but also to get ahead of the class and to get ahead of the teacher to ensure that once the topics that were going to be introduced later on I would fully understand that, and also give me a head start when it comes to, tests and exams. And because of that, and because of my dedication, it was made evident by a lot of the teachers that I was very responsible, and I stood out from my other peers. So within the first month and a half of my high school career, they deemed me worthy to be a prefect. And that was mind blowing to me. All I wanted to do was, stick to my books and mind my business. They said, become a prefect, help lead your peers and be a good example to them. And that's what I did. Because of also my academic prowess, I was also deemed the number two in my whole grade for a while. I'm not gonna lie to you, there was a girl in my grade that was very, very gifted. She was very hard to beat. She would always take the number one spot for a long time. Whenever I would get a final grade of 95, she would get 97. When I would get 96, she would get 98. When I got 90, 93, and so on and so on, it was just an uphill battle. I remember the first day actually when I finally beat her, it caused waves throughout the whole school. Everyone from different grades would, come to me and congratulate me. I remember I didn't even learn the news myself. I was coming from PE. I was minding my own business, and some guy from another grade came up to me and congratulated me for finally becoming number one. And I was like, "Oh, really? That's great." I wasn't even aware. And it was a moment of celebration. Teachers came to congratulate me, but unfortunately, my reign didn't stand for too long because the next term she took her position again. So yeah, goes back to what I said about her being very stiff competition. So a few years passed by and I got into Form 3, which is, I believe, grade 10 to you guys. And there, that is when I saw something different in my competitor. I don't know if she became relaxed or something, but I remember the day very clearly. Something felt off. And without hesitation, I decided to take advantage of that opportunity. I went back home and I studied harder than ever. I made sure I was going to milk this opportunity with everything that I had. And because of that grit, because of that determination, I made sure I landed my number one spot consistently all throughout the rest of my high school career. Now, by the end of my high school career, I believe it's distinctions to you guys, which is 80 and above. I had distinctions in maths, chemistry, physics, computer science, English, and a few other subjects. But I got A stars, which is 90 and above, specifically in maths, physics, chemistry, and computer science. Now, in high school, we had two scholarships that we were all pining for. We had a local scholarship in which the government would sponsor students who did very well in their high school career to go to a local university, be it BIUST, which is the university I ended up going to, Botswana International University of Science and Technology, and the UB, University of Botswana. The government would fully fund you and give you an allowance and everything. And the second scholarship was an international scholarship. The government would sponsor you to go to any university you wanted to in the world, be it in the US, the UK, Australia, Asia, you name it, government would take care of everything. Now, my dream was to go to Boston University in America. But unfortunately, with the grades that I had, as high as they were, I wasn't able to make the cut to get the international scholarship. I was only eligible enough for the local scholarship. So I decided to make the best of the situation and go into A levels. And for those who don't know what A levels is, it's basically middle ground between high school and university. So basically, they're teaching you university content within the confines and environment of high school. It's a 2-year course, and to be eligible enough to be taken outside of the country with a scholarship, you had to get 3 A's, I believe, and whatever other grade you wanted. You had a choice to either do 4 or more subjects. I did 4 subjects. I did maths, chemistry, physics, and computer science, staying true to the grades that I got in the previous years. And I was pining for that scholarship. I needed to go overseas. I had already applied to different universities, such as Boston University, which was my dream university, University of Arizona, University of Indianapolis, and a few universities in Canada, of which I was accepted into every single one of them. All I needed was a scholarship to pay for my fees, my transport, and everything. But unfortunately, by the end of my A-level career, I had only amassed 2 A's in maths and chemistry and a B in computer science and physics, and those B's being 79. So I'm pretty sure you can imagine how disheartened I was and how disappointed I was by the result of me not being able to go overseas to these universities that had already accepted me. To the point where I remember feeling extra sour when the University of Indianapolis offered me, I think it was $20,000 to go to their school. But unfortunately, that $20,000 wasn't going to be enough to cover, all the expenses that were going to incur with me going overseas. So I unfortunately had to deny that offer. And I'm sure all of you are wondering, what's this guy, what this guy missed out. But yeah, as I said, I was very disappointed. I didn't know what to do, where to go. I had one goal my whole, high school life, and I just felt stuck. Luckily enough, I had a good support system in the form of my nuclear family, which consisted of my mom, dad, sisters, sorry, and brothers, as well as a few other family members who flew all the way from South Africa to Botswana to motivate me and tell me, it's not over. And that moment for me was very monumental and meant a lot to me. It gave me the push I needed to continue my journey to keep that dream of me being, the best in something in the world, or in this case, the best in tech in the world. And to share a few things that were shared with me, I was told that, failure isn't something that we as humans are exempt from. Failure is a natural, it's a natural thing that comes with you having the bravery to go out and do something different, the bravery of deciding to stand out from everyone else in this world. And the sooner you learn how to maneuver around failure, the better you will be, the better off you will be in the future. I learned of different people who, went through life without failing, went through high school, best in their class, university, best in their class, better part of their career, excelling in every area until one day, something wrong happened. They had experienced their first failure at the age of 30, 40, somewhere around there. And at that age, this was new ground for them. They didn't know what to do. They truly believed life was over and they just couldn't cope. Everything fell from there just because they didn't know how to maneuver failure. So as much as everything hurt in the moment, I learned that maybe it in some way or form was a blessing for me to have experienced this at a young age, where I had a good circle around me, where I had the freedom to maneuver through this failure without the pressures of life, wailing on me. And with that, I told myself, you know what? Let me keep moving. Let me keep pushing on. And I'm actually reading a book called Seven Habits of Highly Effective People. And the chapter that I'm on right now focuses on four topics. So I hope all of you have your notebooks out. So the first two are based around the circle of influence and the circle of concern. So basically, the circle of influence pertains to everything that we as humans can control. Stuff like our attitude, stuff like our decisions, everything that we have control over, that is the circle of influence. Whereas the circle of concern pertains to everything that we as humans have no control over. That can be what people say about us, gossip and everything. That can be people making decisions to, ruin our lives. That can pertain to everything, also the environment that we're in, where we were born. That's everything that we as humans cannot control, which leads me on to the last 2 points. In this world, you can either be a proactive person or a reactive person. And now to explain, a proactive person is a person that basically sees the light at the end of the tunnel, the person who is positive, the person who decides to grow their circle of influence and shrink their circle of concern. They look at life as, a continuous learning experience. When they experience failure, they do not look at it in the negative, but they think, how can I use this failure to launch me even further down the line? They look at the positive in life. Whereas reactive people are people who see everything as they basically victimize themselves. They blame the environment that they're in. They blame the people that are around them. They tell themselves that I cannot make it because of this and this and that. I cannot make it when I'm here and this is going on and that is going on. And with that, and with those four topics, I'd like to give you the option to choose what kind of person do you want to be? Do you want to be a proactive person or a reactive person? Do you want to grow your circle of influence or do you want to grow a circle of concern? That is a question I'd like to pull onto you. Now, to get back into the story. So yes, after I had made my decision to be a proactive person with what I was given, I already knew that I was going to be sponsored by government to attend a university within the country. So I decided to go to BIUST, Botswana International University of Science and Technology, mainly because it is a school that's mainly focuses on engineering, technology, and science. That is where all the best engineers in Botswana are bred. And I figured, you know what, they have the course I wanted to do in it being computer engineering. So I said, why not? Let me go there and see what I can do. And as was stated by Usisi Olwetu, I was exempted from first year because of the grades I had gotten in high school in A level. So I was able to just jump straight into second year. And as much as that was a way of me saving time, because engineering basically is a 5 year course. You spend 5 years doing your course. So I was only going to do it in 4. And as much as, you guys think, oh, you saved a lot of time, it was a very strenuous year for me because in university we have modules or subjects. So a typical person who joins university regularly would have 5 subjects or 5 modules to do in one semester. And I know you guys are thinking, that's small compared to what we're doing in high school. I thought the same thing too. But then when I got into it, I came to find out that the 5 subjects that you do in university is the equivalent of like 10 subjects that you do in high school in terms of the amount of work that you have to put in. So because I had skipped first year and jumped straight into second year, there were 1 or 2 or 3 subjects that were prerequisites or subjects that I had to do no matter what. And because of that, instead of doing 5 modules or 5 subjects in my first entrance into university, I had to do 7 or 8, which is basically the workload of 14 subjects within my first being in university. Um, that was a lot of work, and I'll get right into that just now. Um, so in my first year of university, I had one goal. I was told that, if you get a certain GPA being grade point average, which is basically um, a cumulative result of the amount of the grades that you've gotten in your subject or modules in your university career. So in point system, of which it is a point system, let's say you got 70 in a subject. That 70 will then be translated into 3.0 points. If you got 18 in a module or subject, you'd get 4.0 points. If you got 90, you'd get 4.5 points. So how they calculated is they took all your grades from all the subjects that you're doing, get the points, average it or do whatever calculation that they had to do, and give you a final GPA for that semester. So my goal was to get a 3.5 GPA, regardless of the number of subjects I was doing at the time. It was a lot of work. I am not going to lie to you. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. It was a lot of work having to juggle that. But I told myself, like I did in university, I'm going to make sure that I leave my name in the school somehow, some way, regardless of whatever happened beforehand. So I had a clear routine for myself. I told myself I'm going to wake up, I'm going to read my Bible, I'm going to pray, I'm going to go shower, I'm going to do my push-ups or something, and then straight into books. I studied religiously. I stayed in my room for the better part of my first and second year of university, to the point where people would only see me outside of my room when I had to go to class or go to the cafeteria to get food. And to a certain degree, people genuinely believed I was a myth for that first year. And people could just see that, I'm straining myself. I had bags under my eyes. But the one thing that kept me pushing was that grade, that 3.5 GPA. And I did it. I even surpassed what I wanted because of my sheer determination, because of my goal, because of consistency. Within my first year of university, I was able to amass a 3.9 GPA, which is way past what I wanted, what I needed. And funny enough, was way more than, or a good amount more than what my peers in my grade had amassed, with them having already done first year. So you can imagine how much respect I got because of that accomplishment. I continued pushing. I didn't stop there. I told myself, you know what? Let me see how far I can take this. I continued my routine. I stayed consistent. I told myself I'm going to continue growing my GPA to the point where everyone in my space will fight for me. So my second year of university came. I was able to move from a 3.9 to a 3.95. The next year came, 3.95 to 3.99, 3.99 to 4.01, and I finally graduated university with the Bachelor of Computer and Telecommunications Engineering with a 4.13 GPA, which when you get into, the career space is way more than what the standard is in terms of being eligible enough to be hired. For just a quick sneak peek for those who are wondering, a lot of jobs just need you to have a 3.6 GPA. Some just need you to have a 3.9 GPA, and some just need you to have a 4.0 to 4.1. So with the grade I've gotten, I am more than eligible enough to go for any career, to go to any company comfortably with no, problems or anyone asking why I didn't work hard or am I really fit for the job. So besides the academic side of my life in university, I decided to grow other facets of my life. I decided to work on the physical aspect of myself in the form of, as I said, doing push-ups in my room, going to the local gym, making sure that um, I was the strongest person at the school. If you haven't noticed, I have a very competitive nature, fortunately and unfortunately, depending on how you look at it. I told myself I was going to be the strongest in the school, and lo and behold, I was able to attain that. I told myself I was going to build my mental. I was going to make sure that I was going to build my financial literacy, and I was going to make sure that I build something whilst I was in that school in the form of a business. And onto the business side of things, I had an enlightening moment at some point in my university career. As I told you, we had an allowance that we were receiving from the government monthly. And I sat down with myself and I realized after university, there's going to be a window, a bracket of time in which I will not be getting a stable source of income as I was in university. So I decided to, ensure that I was going to be covered for that period of time. So I started thinking about ways of making money and trying to pair the business side with my love for technology. And with that, I found website development. So I learned how to make websites for the better half of a year. And the opportunity arose when I was actually working at Mascom for my internship. I wanted to watch a movie. We have a cinema called New Capital Cinemas, which is basically the equivalent of New Metro or Ster-Kinekor in South Africa. New Capital Cinemas had a website a long time ago, but due to a few reasons that I can't legally, unfortunately, tell you, they had to shut it down. And at that time, they could only tell you what was being screened through Facebook and the screening times, the whatever is being shown in the month, the next month, and so on and so on. And I found that redundant. I found it as a waste of time. I was not having the best time. I just wanted to know what movie was showing and what time it was going to be. I didn't see the point of scrolling for minutes, for 10 minutes just to find what I wanted. So I decided, you know what, let me make a website to make life easier for myself first and then see what happens. So I designed the website. It looked pretty good from where I was standing. It achieved all the points that I wanted it to achieve. I then went to my friends. I showed it to them. They were also impressed, and I figured, you know what, let me take a chance. So I got the email of New Capital Cinemas, and I shot them an email. I told them about what I had built and that I was interested in sharing it with them if they're willing to set up a meeting with me. Now, at this point, I was just a student in a company at Mascom. It was my first website. I wasn't expecting much, but because God is God, He allowed certain doors to be opened. And 3 or 4 days later, I got an email back from the management at New Capital Cinemas telling me that they were very interested in what I had for them and that they were willing to set up a meeting with me. So you can imagine how excited I was at this point in time. But I had to quickly calm down and, get straight to work. I created a PowerPoint presentation. I did some research. I got the statistics of how many people were in Botswana, how many people watch movies, how many people would benefit from having a website, how many people are suffering right now as a result of not having a website. I ensured that all that information was in my presentation. I got to their offices very early in the morning. I think it was 2 hours or 3 hours before our meeting, just so I ensured that the presentation was stellar, to ensure that I was going to be the first person there. And once the meeting had started, they listened very intently, and it didn't even need me to finish the presentation. I didn't even pack away my laptop or anything. They told me there and then they wanted to work with me. They wanted what I was selling, and we were going to work together regardless of what happens. So, and this is all during university, by the way. This is still during my university days. Um, so for a few months into my university career, that's what I was doing for during my spare time. I was working with New Capital Cinemas to create and improve their website. And finally, when it was all done, I sold it to them. They bought it, and that marked the end of my first business client. It was a very humbling, a very proud moment for myself. And thinking back, I remember the thought of one day my kid, going on to newcapitalcinemas.com, looking for a movie, and me telling them, oh, I made that website when I was very young. I think that was a moment that did it for me, regardless of me having my first clients, just having that as the first thing or the first sign of me leaving a legacy, that meant more than anything, if I'm being honest. So that was the entrepreneurial side of my journey. Because of all this, I became very respected in university. I was approached by different people from different years, year ones, year twos, year threes, year fours, people older than me, teachers. Everyone wanted to know how I was me, basically. They wanted to know how I kept my um, how I kept my grades up, basically, how I stayed in shape, how I carried myself to a certain degree, how I was doing well with my business, how I was doing life, basically. And it was a very humbling yet very enlightening moment for me because I realized that as much as I was living my life and trying to improve myself every single day, there were people that I didn't even know were there looking at me and watching my every move. And like I said, enlightening in the sense that I had to make sure that I didn't feel restricted, but I also had to be aware that every decision that I make, every move that I make is being watched by someone who wants to emulate where I am in life. And I had to make a decision to either take them down the right path or mislead them. And I'm pretty sure that's where, with you guys being here, I'm pretty sure a majority of you can relate. Now, I didn't do it alone. I will not take any credit for that. I had a few role models going down my life. The first one being Les Brown, who was introduced to me by my aunt who came from South Africa. He was the main person who helped me and motivated me into becoming, something greater than I am. He's the one person that taught me that when I fall down, I should make sure that I fall on my back because if I can look up, I can get up. And that is the kind of motivation I needed multiple times in my life because, a fact that I forgot to mention when it comes to failure. As much as I said it is a natural occurrence in everyone's life, when you fail, don't think that is the one and only time that you're going to fail. When I failed, I told myself I'm going to fail a few times down the line. Like I said, wanting to be great, wanting to stand out, failure is going to be around the corner in different forms, in different spaces. You have to know how to ensure that you're going to use that failure to grow yourself in every respect. We also had Dave Ramsey. As I mentioned, I tried to become financially literate because my dad was one of the most financially literate people I knew at the time. And I just wanted to, what he was saying, was talking about, unit trusts and savings accounts and all the like. I kind of felt left out when he would talk about that kind of stuff with my mom. And I wanted to be included in the conversation. So I taught myself um, how to be financially literate by listening to people like Dave Ramsey. He taught me stuff like the baby steps of becoming financially free, how to save your money, how to live within your means, um, how to get into unit trusts, basically how to make money work for you in the long run to ensure that you are financially free one day. I give that to Dave Ramsey, as well as giving it to my parents for inspiring me to become financially literate at a young age. And now I also give you the same motivation to also do so. Because unfortunately, money isn't something that we are taught in school. That is unfortunately something that we will have to teach ourselves. So I give you guys that task. I also had Trey Drexler, who was a person who basically had a YouTube video that taught different men how to handle themselves, how to handle different situations, how to carry yourself with respect, how to treat people, how to basically exude confidence as well as humility at the same time. And I give it to him for allowing me to, or giving me the chance to know what a young man should look like and what I should strive for to be going down the line. I also had Tim Ross, Pastor Tim Ross, who helped me in my Christian walk. He helped me understand who I am in this world, that I am not perfect in any form. I am just, Kabo, but I am made perfect through God and um his divine through his divineness, basically. I give that all to Tim Ross. I also had the FGL community, a special, shout out to the FGL community. You guys have really done something special here. I've seen a lot of your seminars, as I've stated before. What you guys are doing is really paving the road to success for a lot of students here, a lot of students that you will have in the future. And I'd like to, on their behalf, say thank you for what you guys are doing. Now, onto a few anchors that I kept with me throughout this journey. I had discipline, integrity, and respect. Now, for discipline, as you guys may have noticed throughout my story, played a very integral part in getting me to where I am right now. I had to be disciplined enough to wake up in the morning to study. I had to be disciplined enough to sacrifice, going out with different people. I had to be disciplined enough to tell myself that I'm going to sit down and watch, this 2 hour long academic video to understand a topic in university. I had to be disciplined enough to tell myself that I am not going to delve into the things that distract me during the week, because during that point in time, during my university career, I told myself that I wasn't allowed to watch TikTok or play video games during the week, because to me, those were distractions. And that was something that I picked up very quickly and told myself, nope, that is something I'm only going to go into on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. And that is also an important thing. When you guys are in university, you are responsible for yourself. No one is going to check on you. No one is going to make sure you are doing what you are supposed to do. Everything is on you. Your success and your failure is all on you. No one is watching. So by the end of this talk, I hope that it inspires you guys to do the right thing in secret when you're by yourself. And, talking about doing the right things in secret leads me into integrity. Doing the right thing consistently, even when no one is looking. That is a very broad subject in itself. Integrity is not just how you carry yourself, but the decisions that you make. It pairs very well with decision making. In university, you're going to find a lot of people from a lot of walks of life, people who really don't care about where they're going. They aren't motivated in in making it, basically, not motivated in being someone big. All they want is 50% and they're done. And that will also introduce you to a few things like cheating. Those are the people that cheat in tests. Those are the people that take phones and stuff into the exam room and cheat. Those are the moments that will define you. And I'll tell you a very good example, a very good story just now. Basically, integrity, like I like to say, is a long-term investment. You're not going to be congratulated or rewarded in the moment, but down the line, trust me, that decision that you make in secret will benefit you down the line. And now into respect, the way I treated teachers, the way I treated students, the way I treated everyone around me. I didn't play favorites with anyone. I knew who to talk to and how to talk to them. And I respected everyone's space. I made sure that I was not an obnoxious person to be around. And now onto that story. Not too long ago, I was called by one of my peers from university telling me that he told the manager of Mascom, which, if you guys don't know, Mascom is one of the biggest telecommunications companies in Botswana. He told the manager about me and how I handled myself in university, how I was top in my class, how I was, one of the best people to be hired, basically. And because of that, not even, asking him to do me any favors, he just did this off his own volition. I was specifically asked for by the manager, and he asked me to send my CV directly to him instead of, for those who don't know, you have to send your CV to people like HR, human resources, to screen you and make sure that you're eligible enough to be hired. In this case, my CV went straight to the manager, straight to the person I'd be working for. And that is a good sign of how integrity, of how making the right choices in secret will benefit you in the future. Now, on to why I chose engineering and technology. There's a movie that I used to watch when I was a kid. Some of you may know it, some of you may not. I'm just very old. But the movie was Meet the Robinsons. And basically, the movie circled around a boy who was an inventor. He always wanted to be an inventor and he would always create these gadgets and stuff, but unfortunately would never truly succeed, would never really get the invention or the gadget to work at 100%. He then had to travel to the future to fix some problems and saw that the life that he had led, the results of his decision in never giving up, in continuing to invent, in continuing to improve his inventions, it paid off. And that is why I decided, you know what? I want to be an inventor. Failure's going to come, fine, but I'm not going to stop until I get to where I want to be. So because of that, decided I want to be an inventor. I decided I want to change the world. And I was only going to do that way in the most comfortable way possible. And that was for me through technology. So when it comes to technology, there are multiple facets. There is cybersecurity, there is AI, there's data analysis, there's IoT, which is Internet of Things. But let me start off with the most popular one in being AI, artificial intelligence. Basically, AI is basically a computer program that takes in a large amount of data, processes it as if it was human, and gives you results based on what you asked to do. And to be very clear, well, and also to give an example, we have stuff like ChatGPT, DeepSeek, Claude, and the like. To clarify, those are chatbots. Excuse me. Those are chatbots. They utilize AI. They are not AI in themselves, but they are in fact chatbots. A good example of AI in use is your everyday Netflix, watching your everyday YouTube. Whenever you get a movie or a YouTube video that is recommended, that in itself is AI. What Netflix or YouTube did was it went through your data, it went through what you watched, it took the genre and the times you watched it at, the type of YouTuber you watched, and it then processes that data and then spits it out in the form of suggesting what it thinks you would like based on the data that you basically gave it. That in a nutshell is what AI is. It's a continuously growing field. It is being utilized in multiple fields as well. And that's basically why I myself want to continue with AI going down the line to into masters and making it a career for myself. I am basically eligible enough to enter any space I want through AI, be it the medical field, be it the financial field, be it the agricultural field. AI is now needed in every single field, which means that anyone who decides to dive into AI will never be jobless. We also have cybersecurity, which is basically protecting your digital life in essence. Whenever you, as people or students, buy stuff online with your debit cards, with your parents' debit cards, there's a person who specializes in cybersecurity to ensure that that information will not lead to hackers or anyone that is trying to cause you harm. Also, people that are used in companies to ensure that the company's data is not being stolen by anyone. It is basically used by every facet. Technology is everywhere right now. You need people that are protecting data. Data right now is a currency that is being sold to a lot of people, and that is one of the most dangerous things and scariest things to admit. But that is also why we have people who majored in cybersecurity to keep us safe. And that is why we need a few of you guys there to keep everyone's data safe, to keep, the world safe from all these people who intend to use something as beautiful as technology to hurt other people. We have stuff like IoT, Internet of Things, which is basically your everyday technology, your phones, your smart devices, your Alexa, your Siri, anything, anywhere that technology has been used to improve our daily lives. That is what IoT is. That's, as I said, the tech world is very immense. There's no stopping, there's no confining technology. It's something that is continuously growing. And to be honest, if anyone decides to get into the tech world, I can promise you now, you will never go without a job. Now, this is the point where I now put it on to you. I'm going to give you a few lessons or calls to action in the form of decision making, making a plan, and staying consistent. When it comes to decisions, the decisions that you make when you're by yourself are the most important points in time of your life. You have to decide what you want from whatever you're doing right now. You have to decide that, you know, I'm going to be the best in whatever subject I'm going to take part in. I want to decide to be the best engineer or accountant that I strive to be. You just have to decide to be that thing. And of course, the decision has to be backed up with a plan. You have to write everything down. How am I going to become this person? How am I going to achieve this? How am I going to be the person I want to be in the future? And those two as well are nothing without consistency. Showing up for yourself daily, even when it's hard, even when no one's looking, even when no one is there. It doesn't take a day for you to change your life. It takes multiple days for you to make the right decisions, to follow your plan, to make a big change. You can take your day-to-day life, one day as a brick. You cannot build a wall in one day with that one brick. It'll take you multiple days of consistently placing bricks to build a wall. It'll take you even longer to build an empire. But you can't build a strong empire with a few bricks missing. So again, you have to decide, do you want to build an empire that is shaky and that will topple over with the slightest breeze? Or do you want to build an empire that will be steadfast and can be admired by people down the road? And now finally, I close it off. As I said earlier on in the presentation, 3 years ago, I was in your guys' shoes and I was wondering, am I going to make it? Am I going to get through this hole that I was in? And for any of you who are thinking the same things, for any of you who have the same thoughts around that certain subject, I want to tell you that no matter where you are, I want you to know that Mbuya, some guy in Botswana, believes in you. You can achieve your dreams. You can be who you set yourself out to be. And to be honest, I can't wait to be invited to a seminar that will have you guys as guest speakers. And now your dream might not look exactly how you imagined it to be. Mine definitely didn't. But if you stay disciplined, you stay focused, you stay teachable, you will build something that you can be proud of. And with that, I would like to say thank you and open the floor to anyone who has any questions.
Oh my goodness me, what a presentation, Kabo. Thank you so much. I've got notes. And I'm not an FGL. Right? FGLers,
Sure, no,
anybody's got questions for Kabo? I'll take one quickly. There's one on the chat there from Mukungao. What's the difference between a data analysis and data scientist?
Basically, a data scientist is a person that deals with ensuring that data is retrieved from different facets of a business. So you can get data from different sensors that you have and from different machines that are running. You can get data from different customers to make informed decisions. And a data analysis is a person who takes that data and makes it understandable, basically, not just to themselves, but to the higher ups, the managers, the decision makers, to ensure that the company can make informed decisions and making sure that the business is profitable, to ensure that any holes in the company's defenses is plugged up, and basically to ensure that tech-wise, whatever is missing is filled up. So yes, data analysis takes in the data, makes it understandable. Data scientist takes that data and gives it to the data analyst.
All right, fantastic. Understood. Anybody else got a question, FGLs? You can just put up your hand. Kabo, if you see anyone with their hands up, you can please let them know they can ask a question. I know that
Hey? No, I'm saying no worries, no worries. I'll be on the lookout.
Viewer was here earlier on with a question about understanding the A stars. What is the What is the percentage for the A stars? Is it 95, 90, or just above 90?
Oh yes, an A star is basically 90 and above, and
90.
then anything below that is an A. So an A is 89 to 80%.
Okay. All right. Got you. Lusango, you've got your hand up. You can turn on your mic.
Thank you, ma'am. Hello again, sir. Very great presentation, by the way. I wanted to ask,
Thank you very much.
based on you said that you love tech and you chose computer engineering. I also love coding. I also love Python and all of the things that are involved in it. But how did you decide that specific there's computer science, there's software engineering, there's computer engineering, which is all of those sound similar and have very slight differences between them. How did you decide on yours specifically?
Oh, yes, good question. Like you, I also had a passion for coding. I enjoyed, writing a few words and telling the computer to do certain tasks and create something with those few lines of code. But I didn't want to stop there. Like I said, in the past, I wanted to be an inventor. So as much as I enjoyed coding, I wanted to design something that is physical. I wanted to create gadgets and everything. So, like you said, with software engineering, the main focus in software engineering is the coding aspect. But with computer engineering, it takes the software and the hardware and mixes it together to create a feasible and physical product. So basically, if I want to create a computer, I design the code to ensure that I have the brain of the computer, but I also implement stuff like capacitors, resistors. Um, I make use of stuff like Arduinos. I make use of stuff like uh, yeah, everything everything physical. I put that all together and create a physical product that can be sold to people to better their lives and such. That's basically the difference between computer engineering and software engineering. It's a small difference, but makes all the difference at the same time.
Lusango, are you happy with that
Oh,
response?
yes, ma'am. Thank you very much. I'm very happy, ma'am.
All right.
No
Any
worries.
more
Thank you
questions
again.
for Kabo? All right. I know Gabu's going to stay on. If you do think of something and you're just too shy to share now, you can just write it in the chat box and then Gabu can just perhaps respond to you directly. All right. Gabu, thank you so much. I've made so many notes here. And I really just want to thank you for being such a great motivation to the FGLs today. And I'm sure even the parents that are tuned in and the ambassadors there, you left so much for us to be able to hang on to. I'm sure the FGLs, as they pursue their final bit of exams and also as they chase careers of the future. For me, I'd like to applaud you on your hard work and your dedication. And I'm pretty sure that Kabo Mbuya is not a name that we're going to forget very easily. And I look forward to be able to say, yes, I know him. So congrats and thank you so much for your time. All right.
Thank you very much for having me. And I really, like I said, I wasn't lying when I said that I'm very impressed with what the FGL community is doing, the students themselves. All of you are very gung-ho, and I can see you're all very passionate about what you want to do. And same thing, as much as you guys can't wait to see me in higher places, I can't wait to say I know everyone from FGL one day. So I'm very excited for you, what you guys have in store. And thank you again very much for this opportunity.
Absolute pleasure.